One of the largest cryptocurrency companies in the world is at risk of insolvency and going bankrupt. Interesting, because just 13 days ago, they made a statement saying our exposure to FTX has no impact on our ability to serve our clients. Today, Genesis warns of possible bankruptcy without funding. This is coming from Bloomberg. This is a huge deal. Genesis is the biggest Bitcoin OTC desk, a major lender, and could take down parent company Digital Currency Group, which is a titan in the space. And the silence from Digital Currency Group's Genesis is spooking the entire cryptocurrency market. Why? How did we get here? Genesis Global Trading has been eerily silent after announcing last week that its crypto lending unit would halt services in light of FTX's collapse. State of play? Well, 5 days have passed since its lending unit ceased withdrawals and new loan originations, and the lack of communication has opened the door to speculation about the health of the overall firm, as well as its parent company, Digital Currency Group, and its sister unit, Grayscale Investments. As you can see, this one company is connected to some of the biggest companies in the entire space. So what's the threat level? If Genesis were dealing with insolvency concerns and were to file for bankruptcy, that would imperil Digital Currency Group. Why this matters? Digital Currency Group, or DCG, founded by Barry Silbert in 2015, is among the largest crypto companies in the space, sporting a valuation of $10 billion just last year. It holds investments in some 165 companies, from public companies including Coinbase Global to well-known private shops Ripple and Ledger. In other words, a hurt DCG would have industry-wide repercussions. So Genesis needs to raise some money to cover their hole. The only problem? Genesis is having a hard time raising cash for its lending unit, and it is warning potential investors it could possibly file for bankruptcy if it is unable to do so, Bloomberg reported. The firm has faced a liquidity crunch since FTX's bankruptcy filings earlier this month and has been trying to raise at least $1 billion, including from Binance. People familiar with the situation confirmed to the block that Genesis is struggling to raise the emergency funds, however, noting that its fundraising target has been reduced from $1 billion to just $500 million. Again, how we got here is Genesis Global Capital, the lending business of Genesis Trading, last week temporarily suspended redemptions and new loan originations in the wake of FTX's collapse and the earlier Three Arrow Capital implosion, which affected them hard. At the time, parent company Digital Currency Group said business operations at DCG and its other wholly owned subsidiaries were not affected. So Genesis seemingly facing bankruptcy without at least $500 million cash infusion. Binance was offered an investment proposal. Binance rejected this offer. CEO of Binance, CZ, now taking to Twitter to make observations on Coinbase custody and Grayscale. Remember, Digital Currency Group and Grayscale have the same CEO, founder Barry Silbert, highly connected. CZ says this. So Coinbase custody holds 635,000 Bitcoins for Grayscale. 4 months ago, Coinbase, I assume the exchange, reported holding less than 600 Bitcoin. Just stating news reports, not making any claims. Seems to me like CZ is sowing seeds of doubt whether Coinbase custody actually holds this Bitcoin for Grayscale and whether Grayscale actually has this Bitcoin. Why would CZ do this? Because Coinbase is a public company, and through their audited financials, they actually control 2 million Bitcoins. CZ, why are you tweeting this? Well, it forced Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, it forced his hand, saying if you see FUD out there, remember, our financials are public. We're a public company. Brian Armstrong sharing pages out of their financials saying we hold 2 million Bitcoin, almost 40 billion worth of Bitcoin as of September 30th. We need to come together to build this industry in a responsible way going forward. Be wary of false information. And it's true, Coinbase is a public company. They have to disclose and prove in their financial statements to the regulating bodies. However, cryptocurrency is all about don't trust, verify. Brian Armstrong, show us the wallets, proof of reserves. So I'm rooting hard for Digital Currency Group because I'm rooting for the hundreds of thousands of investors, people like you and me, who would be hurt if Genesis, Grayscale, and Digital Currency Group don't execute a successful restructuring. I'm rooting for Ethereum DeFi not facing massive liquidations if Ethereum falls under a certain price. We're all in the same boat right now. This affects everyone. Genesis purportedly needs $500 million to $1 billion in emergency financing or it will face bankruptcy. Genesis likely already lost more money than it ever earned thanks to the Three Arrow Capital bankruptcy. It affected them hard, but Digital Currency Group at the time absorbed the $1.2 billion bankruptcy claim. Today, Digital Currency Group, the parent company of Genesis, currently has debt in excess of assets and limited liquidity. But it also has Grayscale, which produces about $250 to $300 million per year in fees and whose assets under management is locked. Digital Currency Group Holding Company should be able to raise money if it can limit Genesis capital liabilities. Digital Currency Group's health begins and ends with Genesis. There is hope, there is potential fear. Hope, Digital Currency Group negotiates a resolution with Genesis creditors, everyone avoids bankruptcy, and the Digital Currency Group survives. Or creditors reject the deal. Genesis goes into bankruptcy. Years of court battles, likely same bad result for Digital Currency Group. The latter situation, Genesis Chapter 11, a bankruptcy, is what everyone is assuming right now, and that's bad. I don't see it being survivable for Digital Currency Group reputation-wise. It seems Genesis has days, not weeks, to reach a creditor agreement in order to avoid Chapter 11. Subscribe to our channel. More information on all of this is coming out every day. We keep you updated on a daily basis. Join us November 28th and 29th, Dcentral Miami. We're speaking. We'll be there. Hope to see you there. Join us next year for the biggest Bitcoin conference in the world. May 18th through 20th, 2023. Celebrate Bitcoin Winter in Miami at the Bitcoin Conference 2023. This is the place to be. Use code Altcoin Daily for 10%. Get your tickets now. Ticket prices increase. Use Altcoin Daily 10%. Also, this is one of your last chances to vote for us. Web3 Influencer Awards. I'll leave a link to all of this in the description below. Please vote for us in every category where we are nominated. To recap, the $50 billion empire of Digital Currency Group might be on the verge of a total collapse. They own Genesis. They own Grayscale. They claim to have 633,000 Bitcoin in backing, but they refuse to prove it. Is this the beginning of the end? Well, the discount of the GBTC to net asset value of the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust reached a record 55% discount, and it keeps increasing. To solve this, Digital Currency Group must start liquidating part of their 633 Bitcoin to restore the situation. They might not have the 633,000 Bitcoin they claim to have, and they refuse to show their reserves. So there's possibly a huge hole in backing reserves. Coinbase claims they began holding Grayscale assets on July 29th, 2019. In 2019, Grayscale claimed to have 240,000 Bitcoin. There is a corresponding transaction on July 29th. Here is a Google Sheet with addresses and the amount of Bitcoin held on each of them. 432 wallet addresses with a total of 318,000 Bitcoin were found overall. Remember, 318,000 Bitcoin is just one half of what Grayscale claims to have. Hopefully, the other half is being properly stored in Digital Currency Group Reserve addresses. These addresses hopefully will be made public eventually. This all caused Coinbase to publish a report where they listed all assets that Digital Currency Group Grayscale is backed by. However, without listing actual addresses of the reserves. Like I showed you, Brian Armstrong today tweeted out, if you see FUD out there, remember our financials are public, we're a public company. Leading to just a few hours ago, Digital Currency Group CEO Barry Silbert released a letter to shareholders today. Mr. Silbert states, Digital Currency Group borrowed about $575 million from Genesis in an arm's-length deal with the due date maturing in May of 2023. The loans were used to fund investment opportunities. Sound familiar? This is Barry Silbert's full letter to shareholders. A lot more needs to come out. Make sure you subscribe. We will be reporting this to you tomorrow. Subscribe to the channel. See you tomorrow.